Welcome back to my little mini guide on the starting classes of Dark Souls 1, also Dark Souls Remastered, whichever you're playing. My name is Rob, and today we're going to cover the Wanderer. The Wanderer starts off with 10 Vitality, which is okay, 11 Attunement, so you got one spell slot to start off with if you want to start using any types of like sorceries or miracles or whatever. 10 Strength, a little low. This definitely leans towards the dex side with 14 dex. So if you want to use more dex oriented weapons early on, Wanderer is your guy. 12 resistance, intelligence at 11. So this starting class almost kind of pushes you in the direction of like a spellblade type of build. 11 intelligence, you only need 10 bare minimum to cast like first couple of spells you can get in the game. So the fact you start with one attunement slot and enough intelligence to start slinging spells, that's up to you if you want to go that route, but hey. So let's dive right in and start talking about the Wanderer starting equipment. Alright, so let's talk about the starting equipment of the Wanderer. Starts with the Scimitar, which is a dex-leaning weapon. 7 strength requirement, 13 dex requirement, 80 physical damage, plus the 13 damage we get from scaling with the Wanderer's 14 dex. And the Leather Shield, which is weaker than the Warriors or Knights shield that they start off with. But the Wanderer is a little bit more about mobility anyway, and I'll get to that in a second. It's 85 physical damage reduction, 35 magic, 60 fire, 60 lightning, which isn't too bad, 45 stability, which is just meh, but it only weighs 1 unit of weight, so that's not bad. The Wanderer set is some basic light armor. It's really cool looking, and what's great about the Wanderer, you start off fast rolling with lots of mobility by default, but 0 poise, so gotta be careful. The moveset of the Scimitar that you start off with, slashing movements with the R1, the R2, which you can follow up with 2 attacks, press it again, does 1 more. But let's face it, even though these attacks look fancy, the best thing to do with a Wanderer, 2-hand that Scimitar, spam R1. Look at that. Those horizontal sweeps are fast, and they can take out enemies in the early game fairly quickly, so Wanderer's not terribly bad when it comes to its attack. But one thing I'll say about the Scimitar is that slashing damage is not great against any enemy that's wearing armor, so you want to find a decent secondary weapon to the Scimitar fairly early. A couple of things you can do if you want to make the sprint through the the graveyard. You can get the Winged Spear, put 1 point into dex, and then I think with 10 strength you would be able to 2-hand the Winged Spear if you want to use it early on. Of course, you start as a Wanderer, you're not going to be able to use anything like the Zweihander for a while. But something else I want to point out is you do start off with 11 attunement, put 1 more point into attunement to bring it up to 12, and you'll have 2 attunement slots. And you have 11 intelligence, which is enough to cast the most basic sorceries in the game. So, if you want to get some sorceries pretty early, and kind of have like a backup to your Scimitar, some ranged options or whatever, you can come on down here to New Londo. Alright, and you come, as soon as you walk in, head to the right, ignore those steps. Have a look at this hollow boy who's just kind of gazing at the sun. But you come down these steps right around here, and the first smith that you can encounter in the game is down here.
Well, this is unusual.
Yeah, let's just rush through his dialogue here because he kind of
It's
hasn't talked to anybody in a while, so anyway. He can reinforce weapons and armor, but the reason you would want to come down here this early is to go to purchase items. You can buy Soul Arrow, which only takes 10 intelligence to use, and one attunement slot, and you have 30 uses. Now, it costs 2,000 souls to buy the sorcery, and you'll need a sorcerer's catalyst, which he'll sell for 500. So, we'll go ahead and buy Soul Arrow.
come back soon. Smith, don't let.
And let me see what I have as far as soul items. Only need 100 more souls. Hang on just a second. Let me get those. Sorry, bud. 420. 440. 460. 480. And 520, which is enough to buy that sorcerer's catalyst. Let me go on here, down here, and pick this up.
Come back soon.
Yep. Old Rickard gets a little lonely down here behind bars in New Londo. Nobody to talk to except the Hollows. Oh yeah, the soul item right here, Soul of a Nameless Soldier. How many does that even get you? Oh, look at there, 18 souls. That can be very useful early on in the game. See, now, even after buying all that stuff, I have enough souls to level up once. So I could put a point into attunement and have 2 attunement slots, and eventually maybe attune another spell. Which isn't a terrible idea with the Wanderer, given its starting stats. Again, no matter what starting class you choose, you're not locked into any one particular style of play. You can level up and play the game however you want to with any starting class, but certain ones are more apt at doing certain things than others. Let's come on over here to the bonfire. Sure, we'll just throw that into attunement. Why not? See, 2 attunement slots. Look at there. We'll go to attune magic and attune soul arrow. And then, let's come over here and equip the sorcerer's catalyst. But now I'm not fast rolling anymore. So, that is something to keep in mind. Might need to take some equipment off if I still want that same mobility. Look at there. Only had to remove one thing. Look at my beautiful bald head. I might be undead, but I do have a beautiful head. And a face only a mother could love. But anyway, now you've got Soul Arrow here. Which, I mean, honestly, in the very early game isn't bad. Let's lock onto this guy. And look at there. One-shot him. Lock onto this guy. One-shot him. So there you go. Now you've got a melee weapon, which is decent speed, and a sorcery for if you want to approach things a little more safely. Just switch it around, mix it up, whatever you want to do. And that's basically it for the Wanderer starting class. Again, you don't have to level up in such a way. You don't have to buy a Soul Arrow if you don't want to. Play the game you want to do. I'm just trying to show you some cool stuff you can do when you first start out. There we go. Alright. I've kind of gone over the other stats and things in the first 2 videos of this little guide walkthrough thing. So if you want to know more about stats to look for in your shield or poise, things like that, check out those videos. But I hope you've enjoyed watching my little short mini guide on starting off as the Wanderer starting class. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon with the next one on the list. Until then, y'all take care.